Hello, lovely good evening to you, and welcome to Camnet Television News. My name is Jeffrey Zembo. Our top stories in the news tonight: over dependence on President Hakainde Hichilema to win by-elections worry NDC. Rwandan refugees ask for Zambian citizenship. Hakainde Hichilema urged to set up a gender commission. In international news, Ghanaians take to the street demanding resignation of President AKUFO-ADDO. And in sports news, FAS and the National Council for Construction express worry at the pace of FIFA-funded stadium rehabilitation project.
Are you going in grade 6, 8, 10 or 11 in 2023? Waste no time. Born for Greatness Tuition Center will be opening to the public in Kablonga, Lusaka. Quality and experienced teachers guaranteed. Limited space available. Call and book for your child now on
0962 382535.
Classes are starting on 5th December 2022. Born for Greatness Tuition Center. Learning for reigning in life.
You know I can take her a bit.
Yes, my dear.
I was thinking of getting you a Bugatti on your birthday.
Really?
I'm quiet. My name is Yana.
Don't worry, man. That's why there is insurance.
Insurance?
You heard me.
Not just any kind of insurance, but Savenda General Insurance, a company that offers superior customer service, highly professional and dedicated staff. We are not just any insurance company, but an insurance company that actually pays our claims. We cover, among others, fire, marine, aviation, engineering, agriculture, motor vehicle, and miscellaneous insurance. So, live life to the full, knowing that Savenda General Insurance has got you covered. Savenda General Insurance. Insurance excellence.
Hello again, another news in detail. A 16-year-old girl of Lusaka's Mbasela compound who was recently retrieved from early marriage has received a school scholarship from the government under the office of the Kanyama Area Member of Parliament. The girl, who found herself in marriage after falling pregnant, is expected to start going to school in January 2023 after the office of the Area Member of Parliament placed her and 11 others on scholarship. 2 weeks ago, Camnet TV carried her story, where she called on well-wishers to assist her revive her life as she was no longer desirous to continue being a housewife. More in this report.
Following a feature on Camnet TV a few weeks ago explaining how she was no longer desirous to continue being married at a tender age, 17-year-old Messi Tembo, not her real name, has received support under the office of the Area Member of Parliament in Kanyama constituency.
Nakwata 17 years. Tafulo kusangwa mfupa. Nakwata no mwana mamona. So tulikuwa kuli mwenyeji. Tulikuwa support tampe na imwebe na bafyashi. Then kukonkanya pona ifu no uteko na ba MP abaipele shokwe batawe ifu na nawe no kubanga MP wa Mwakanyama. Ukubonfya CDF uyo mwana asango bafilisho. So
the young girl who resides in Lusaka's Basela compound has received a scholarship to go to a boarding school and continue her education. She is expected to commence her school in the first week of January 2023. During a feature on the news, she had explained that she dropped out of school at the age of 14 after falling pregnant and decided to get married. Now, with the support on board, she hopes to achieve her dreams and help her siblings.
Guys, mumna kala fast na mamimbo don't mugadirena na muzinga ko na hope ya kutunzapoya kusunenya zeli na hope kutunzapoya ku school. Hapa na vera buina inenbela ku school zasunga ko na fana banga bali kubio kwanga.
Her grandmother is grateful for the support rendered to her granddaughter.
Tuleta shokuti butwalirire kweba ati batusungire kwa abana bali amweri marriage mubupofu kukana ishiba lero nga ishiba asambirira pochimo kweba ati ngacha kuti na amweri marriage future yabo takuba tuwa umoto tuine bayako tatubasunga tubona ulafi so nga twakwata eshuka ngevu government ya landa libali ishuko pantu nishinasambira filiaru fyenye teti aweke shepu kaidi awa ishuko kwe bati nindu fyanyoro uli omwa omena utaka musakamana so nge uteko ifilu chitire nishinabu bomba bwino.
Concerned Citizen for Justice and Human Rights says the scholarship is a step taken to better her life.
The MP in Kanyama has offered to help for bursary. On Thursday, I went with her and others. We approached the office of the MP concerning these children that we have retrieved from the early marriages. Then the office of the MP, they have offered to support them for bursary. Come January, these people have been offered support from the area MP for Kanyama. So we are humbled and we are very happy as an organization.
She was recently retrieved from early marriage and is a 1-year-old 9-month son. Now advises other girls to stay focused in school. Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
United Party for National Development Chikankata Area Member of Parliament Jacqueline Sabao has bemoaned the state of the Chikankata-Kasamu Road in her constituency. In an interview, the lawmaker has, however, expressed gratitude and disclosed that the Chikankata-Kasamu Road, which is an over 50-kilometer pothole road that branches off the Turnpike Mazabuka Highway, will soon be rehabilitated under the World Bank Rural Connectivity. She explains that the road is of huge economic necessity.
This is the famous Chikankata-Kasamu Road. This road is an economic road because this is the road being used by our farmers, our students going to Chikankata Mission, and also those who are going to the hospital. However, we are lucky under the new Dawn government, this road has been given to a contractor under the World Bank Rural Connectivity. So very soon the contractor will be on site to start the road.
Mwena bwamba baba ilodi ekahwaka indi no yandika kuti bota ebambulula kabotu teguye bakabotu buno kuli chipadela so that chawe utalika byawo siya ukasamu kwenga ili bidebe maningi yakutibwa yalo yerete kuti bakayibambidwe ilodi
ifu ilodi ili hwite maningi ikuyenda nambo ibete ilodi is business maningi mbotu ikuya kuti kali tukwa hena kuti wibamba takubenga tulika botu maningi mukati mu business yasu.
The former and current Rwandan Refugees Association in Zambia has called on the Zambian government to take an interest in the suspected extrajudicial killings of Rwandan refugees in the country. Association National Coordinator Innocent Rukundo says the killing of Nshuti Vedaste, a Rwandan refugee and businessman in Chibombo district on the 27th of October 2022, is among the many cases that have been recorded in the country. Mr. Rukundo said for a long time, Rwandan refugees in SADC countries, particularly Zambia, Malawi, Zimbabwe, Mozambique and South Africa, have been subjected to extrajudicial killings allegedly orchestrated by their own government. He has since asked the Zambian government to facilitate citizenship to Rwandan refugees. More in the following report.
Zambia hosts over 100,000 refugees, asylum seekers and others of concern. The majority of people of concern are refugees from the Democratic Republic of Congo and the wider Great Lakes region, as well as Angola and Rwanda, mainly in Maheba settlement in Northwestern Province, Mayukwayukwa in Western Province, and Muntapala in Wapula Province, as well as in transit centers in Makeni, Lusaka, and Kenani in Chelenge. Many more are also self-settled across the country. Among those who have integrated into the Zambian community are Rwandese, known for their business acumen. But there has been a growing problem in Zambia and other Southern Africa Development Community, SADC, in that they are becoming victims of what is suspected to be extrajudicial killings engineered from their country of origin. Former and current Rwandan Refugee Association National Coordinator Innocent Rukundo cited the killing of Nshuti Vedesta, a Rwandan refugee and a businessman in Chibombo district, last month among other cases.
The killing of Rwandan refugees here in Zambia or refugees who have the origin from Rwanda, it is not a new phenomenon here in Zambia. So the case of Nshuti Vedasti from Chibombo is not the new case. It has been like this for so many years. I'm hastened to say that it is not only here in Zambia, but the whole block of SADC region. We have cases of people who were killed in Mozambique, in Malawi, in South Africa, and these refugees were killed in the same way. But the only report that we saw is an international report and the international media who are pointing at the government of Rwanda to be responsible of killing refugees, particularly in this region, and the entire world in general.
He has since called on the Zambian government to consider giving Rwandan refugees citizenship.
What we are humbly asking the mighty new Don government is to find the durable solution about this issue. One of them is to naturalize or to locally integrate the refugees who have been here in Zambia for so many years. These are current and former Rwandan refugees who have been here, and some of them were born here. They don't know even where Rwanda is. They can't speak Kinyarwanda. They are purely Zambians by nature, by birth, and by culture. And I believe if the citizenship is given to these refugees, it will increase their security and protection.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News.
Democratic Party office bearer Judith Kabemba has charged that removing the Ministry of Gender was the biggest mistake President Hakainde Hichilema's administration made. Ms. Kabemba notes that handling of gender matters in the country has become pathetic owing to the absence of the ministry. Ms. Kabemba has recommended that President Hakainde Hichilema considers reintroducing the Ministry of Gender and appoint a gender commission.
The removal of the Ministry of Gender was a mistake. It has affected the interests that were being handled in that ministry very negatively, and that's why as Democratic Party we are here to submit to the government of the day that we need a gender commission as soon as possible, because the gender commission will operate as an independent commission which will look into the aspirations and the interests of all the gender interest groups. There is no way that we can continue living in this way. I want to believe that if the Ministry of Gender was still operating today, one of the tasks or one of the duties that the Ministry of Gender would have been doing is to ensure and to also get statistics of, for example, how many women are accessing CDF fund, how many youths are accessing CDF fund, what is happening to the women, are women being given positions, what is happening to women in political parties. But today, even the women that are being mistreated in political parties, even women that are being abused in political parties have no voice. They have no voice because that ministry was representing all those issues. We need a gender commission and possibly the Ministry of Gender to be brought back again. It will actually increase the number of women at cabinet level. We should have a woman Minister of Gender so that the numbers of women in cabinet should increase.
Manali constituency member of Parliament Mike Mposha has dispelled the perception that government is implementing policies that favor foreign investors at the expense of Zambians. Opposition political parties have been accusing the government of giving tax incentives to foreign investors, especially in the mining sector. And Mr. Mposha says the policies that the UPND government is making are being done in the best interest of Zambians. The Manali lawmaker says the UPND administration has prioritized dialogue with investors, including the mine operators, in order to steer productivity.
Voted in by the Zambian people. 2.8 million voters voted for this government. And whatever decisions that we are making, these decisions are centered at ensuring that we serve our people best. You've just talked about the recruitment in the health sector. Are you sure that that is favoring foreigners? We are recruiting teachers, first of all, to give jobs to people that had graduated and had no hope of getting these jobs, but secondly, to ensure that a poor child in the rural area, in the peri-urban areas, but also in the urban areas, have enough teachers to teach them. Is that favoring the foreigners? Even the mining sector, where we had too much chaos, we are correcting all those problems where licenses in the mining sector, one person was being given 40, 50 licenses just for speculative purposes. We are doing the cleaning up to ensure that right people are given the licenses, they go to mine, they go to create jobs. But even the multinational entities that are in the mining sector, we are resolving most of the issues, some of which were in courts and were going to take 10, 15 years. We've said, the president has said, let's discuss. This is not to favor the national entities, but it's to favor a Zambian who, once we unlock these challenges in the mining sector, in the agriculture sector, tourism sector, we create more jobs for Zambians. So at the end of the day, the Zambian is going to have a job, they are going to have money, they will go out to spend, and where they're spending, we are growing the business and other opportunities. So every decision that we are making is taking a Zambian at a center stage.
National Democratic Congress NDC faction leader George Sichula has charged that there is a need for the ruling party to strengthen its structures, as it is so much dependent upon the president to win any by-election. In an exclusive interview with Camnet News, Mr. Sichula, whose party is in an alliance with the UPND, notes that most of the by-elections that are being won by the party is due to overutilizing the Republican President Hakainde Hichilema to go on the ground and campaign. He says the recent victory by the UPND in Mkushi, Mwense and Lusangazi council chairperson by-elections should not make them relax, thinking that they have penetrated PF strongholds. More in this report.
Zambia is among some African countries to have witnessed at least 3 electoral turnovers since independence, with the most recent occurring in 2021, when former President Edgar Lungu, who led the Patriotic Front, was defeated by President Hakainde Hichilema of the United Party for National Development. However, this victory, coupled with the recent, where the ruling party won the council chairperson by elections, those in an alliance with the UPND feel this should not make the party relax, thinking it has penetrated areas termed to be stronghold of the opposition Patriotic Front. National Democratic Congress NDC faction leader George Sichula, whose party is in an alliance with the UPND, says there is need for the ruling party to go down and strengthen its structures on the ground.
Even for this government to stay for a long time in power, they need to have strong structures. Today, of course, there is too much noise coming from the structures, and we have noticed that most of the by-elections that we are winning, we are overutilizing the president. I can give an example of Kawata. It took the president to campaign a lot to win it. The same thing happened in Kabushi and Kwacha, and also the Northern Bloc, meaning that we are so much depending on the president to go and campaign for us to do the winning. But you see, come 2026, it will be difficult because the president is not omnipresent. He's not going to be found everywhere. We've got 156 constituencies, so for him to go and campaign, it will be difficult. So we need to depend on the structures, the top leadership, to make sure that they go down and strengthen the structures for us to be very comfortable that even come 2026, it's going to be an easy election.
Meanwhile, Mr. Sichula says there is no hope for the opposition Patriotic Front Party to bounce back into power, following their defeat last year.
And I want to say that the issue of PF is water under the bridge. And those that are thinking that it can be rebranded and later on it gets back into government, they are fighting a losing battle. Yes, we have seen that they've got hope that they may bounce back, and of course that can only happen by miracle. Otherwise, politically, we don't see it coming back.
On the other hand, the opposition Patriotic Front firmly believes of bouncing back into power in 2026. Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
Patriotic Front Deputy Media Director Edwin Lifuekelo has dispelled assertions that the PF is being swallowed by the opposition Socialist Party. Mr. Lifuekelo says those joining the Socialist Party are just doing political expeditions. He says, to the contrary, the party will emerge strong after the convention. He adds that the PF would not want to be in conflict with other opposition political parties, but work with other parties to dislodge the UPND government in 2026.
Are just doing, more or less what you would call political tourism, where you want to see what political party, new parties will come on board all the time. And generally, as a human being, people have got, the noose of wanting to know what's happening from other political parties. And anything new that comes, everybody wants to know what's happening there. But I know that a number of people have started coming back, even a number of people that moved to socialists. But we are happy that even people, when they are moving, they are not going to the ruling party, UPND, but they are going to the opposition political party. Ultimately, the objective of existence of opposition political parties is that in future, our prayer is that all of us, we should unite, come together, because our objective generally is to provide alternative to those that are in government. And we are not enemy to Socialist Party, we are not enemy to DP, we are not enemy to FDD. I think the determining factor or the common denominator is that we are all in the opposition. So we are not worried about the numbers. Yes, to that extent you worry that your people are moving. But we know that in due course, a number of people that have moved will come back to PF. Because PF still remains a party of choice and an alternative to those that are in government. So you will see dynamism. You are going to see in future that all of these political parties led by opposition leaders, at some point our prayer is that we can work together as a team to ensure that we form a formidable political alliance.
This is Camnet Television News. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet Television, call the numbers on your screen. Camnet Television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Camnet Television, not just another channel.
We continue with the news. Patriotic Front Kanchivia constituency member of Parliament Sunday Chanda disclosed that rice cultivation has been placed among priorities under the Constituency Development Fund, CDF. Mr. Chanda tells Camnet News that a cooperative is being supported to enhance production, which will be packaged for sale as Nakonde rice. Mr. Chanda is happy with the commitment by the farmers to ensure the success of the project. The lawmaker tells Camnet News that the move aims at promoting crop diversification and food security.
We are promoting rice production under the 2022 CDF. We are looking at cultivating 83 hectares of rice, working with the cooperatives in the 3 wards, that is Amunikashu ward, Mulingila ward and Dambati ward. These areas fall under what we call the Bangolu wetlands, and traditionally they are into rice production. So we are supporting and leveraging their capacity to produce rice, and hopefully we get good rains, etc., and we have a better yield next year. With the 2023 budget, we should be able now to move into getting some rice processing plant for the cooperatives, and we can start branding the rice coming out of Kanchibia. What is happening now is that the traders will get into Kanchibia, get the unprocessed rice from our people, process it, and they'll come on the market and sell it as Nakonde rice.
Chief Kabamba of the Lala people of Sarenja district in Central Province has bemoaned the action taken by a named Zambian investor to conduct large-scale open-pit manganese mining at Muchinda Boarding Secondary School premises in Sarenja district, Central Province. The traditional leader, who is a caretaker in Muchinda chiefdom following the demise of Chief Muchinda years ago, says the royal establishment and the people of Muchinda are disappointed to see mining activities at the school. Chief Kabamba has since urged the government to step up efforts in addressing the matter. Meanwhile, Center for Environmental Justice Executive Director Magi Mwape is disturbed that the investor is daring the current government, which recently closed some non-compliant mines violating environmental regulations.
Kabundi balefu kusha Muchinda boarding school mlandu wa mabwe community tabayebe so shishi bensa munga iko naba kwata community baisa tamba nokufoku nchita implicated yo ninshi waile mkuchendesesha community at kulesa wale fokusha school kaili community a major stakeholder no manga tabeshi beba community mule mukuikala na banani mulelanda na banani
natukwata ko ama projects yabiri iwe kulefa tubombele po mkwaye elo namumi bombele Yesu icho tufailisha sana chakwe bati kuti twafuilisha shani abantu to improve imikalire ubwikashi bwabo mkwaye elo kabiri cha kukonka po cha kubafuisha kwe bati baishi bakona ama rights yamo eyo benga kwata ngabantu filia fine tutigata human rights ama environmental rights ama land rights twabokwe batu abasambirishako.
Support Older People Zambia Executive Director James Banda says government should come up with a social pension scheme for all aged citizens as a way of ensuring income security for elderly persons. In an interview, Mr. Banda suggested that the government develop a system that will automatically put persons who attain the age of 60 on a social pension as a way of mitigating vulnerabilities among the aged in society and ensure they live a dignified life in their old age by affording minimum basic needs. He says much as the government is reviewing the national social protection policy, there is also a need to review the national aging policy.
So far, what has been done through the social cash transfers and many other, of course, initiative for social protection from which the older persons may benefit. But they are inadequate in the sense that not many of the older persons actually are covered by those. One example I like to give is that of the social cash transfer. It only covers for people 65 years and above. The population of older persons in Zambia is standing at 766,000 plus, but only 162,000 on the social cash transfer. You see that. If you talk about those for pensions, they're only around, I think, 88,000. When you add that up and compare with the total population of older persons, it's a very small number. And the poverty among older persons rate is very high, is the highest at 80%. And those are statistics from the Zambia Statistics Agency, ZAMSTATS. Now, in terms of the resources from government, like I've said, inadequate so far, but also in terms of ensuring that we can reach more older persons so they can live a dignified and comfortable life, I think we need to redesign maybe relook at our policies, like the national aging policy, the national social protection policy, which is also under review currently, and of course the issue that we're coming up also with the National Social Protection Act.
Cross-Border Traders Association of Zambia General Secretary Jacob Makambwe says government's move to allow a partial access of the pension contributions of 20% will attract more informal sector players to come on board. Mr. Makambwe explains the inclusion of the informal economy into social protection is a well-thought initiative and a move in the right direction. In an interview, Mr. Makambwe, however, notes that there are a lot of issues to sort out in order to attract the informal sector to make contributions. He reiterates that despite the pension funds trying to capture the informal sector as part of the coverage of providing social security and protection to everyone, there is need to consider the different levels at which the informal sector is operating and how they can make contributions.
That will encourage the informal sector to continue contributing because they can actually have an opportunity to have some kind of partial withdrawal in that particular vein. But also to the workers that would have been elected after the announcement, it could be a beginning of destitution after they actually retire. So we need to actually provide information and especially financial literacy to our workers so that as they actually do the partial withdrawal of these particular monies, they must actually make sure that they do not become destitute at the end when they actually withdraw this. The informal sector, yes, it is good, it can actually have a good coverage, but we need to actually look at the short-term type of pension that would actually support the businesses, that the informal economy can continue, and to support that particular small businesses.
Zambia Institute of Architects President Bwalia Masebo has called on the government to be more consultative to the private sector when implementing developmental projects, especially now that it is taking the public-private partnership model in infrastructure development. Mr. Masebo says if government is to engage and consult more to the private sector and independent consultants, it will cultivate more value in terms of project delivery. He adds that it is essential for the government to engage specialized consultants to ensure quality and viability of the projects.
I think there's need for more involvement with and engagement with the private sector. We've seen a lot of totally government-run projects. And what we noted as professionals is sometimes there's a conflict between the supervisors and the technocrats, whereby the technocrats sometimes are given instructions and they have to perform because of the chain of command. But if government was to engage more of the private sector, independent consultants, I think they will have more value in terms of the final output. Especially now that we're talking of PPPs. As we do feasibilities for most of these projects, it's important that specific and specialized consultants are engaged to ensure quality and also viability of the project.
We'll take our second and final break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
In our quest to serve nations and develop Africa, Savenda is investing in the agriculture sector so as to produce supply for both local and international markets, housing over 12,000 pullets that are nurtured and fed with our locally made stock feed that comes from our own locally grown maize and soya beans, all processed from our recently installed milling and mixing plant. Our over 95,000 layers have an output capacity of over 1,500 trays of fresh eggs per day that are carefully selected and packaged for all the leading stores and supermarkets nationwide. Our greenhouses are fitted with the latest irrigation system, and the seedlings are nurtured to ensure only healthy plants reach the fields. With our deliberate planting schedule, we are better placed to supply constantly without interruption, thus reliable. Savenda Farms is also changing lives of its dedicated workforce drawn from the local community and beyond. So the next time you think fresh and green, think Savenda Farms.
Grade 6, 8, 10 or 11 in 2023? Waste no time. Born for Greatness Tuition Center will be opening to the public in Kablonga, Lusaka. Quality and experienced teachers guaranteed. Limited space available. Call and book for your child now on
0962 3825
835.
Classes are starting on 5th December 2022. Born for Greatness Tuition Center, learning for reigning in life.
And in international news, the Congolese army has announced a general mobilization of youths to fight the rebels from the March 23 movement, or M23, who are gaining ground in the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo. It follows calls by DRC President Felix Tshisekedi for youth militant groups. At a news conference, DRC Army spokesman Major General Sylvian Ekenge said the nation is in danger and it needs its worthy sons and daughters to serve it under the flag to defend the integrity of the territory. Meanwhile, hundreds of Ghanaians took to the streets of the capital, Accra, on Saturday, 5 November, calling for the resignation of President Nana AKUFO-ADDO following record inflation and the government's handling of the economic crisis. After once promising a Ghana without aid, last week President AKUFO-ADDO urged Ghanaians to support his decision to seek an IMF loan. Here's a roundup for more in international news.
The Congolese army has announced a general mobilization of youth to fight the rebels from the March 23rd movement, or M23, who are gaining ground in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. It follows calls by DRC President Felix Tshisekedi for youth militant groups.
La nation est en danger.
The nation is in danger, he says, and it needs its worthy sons and daughters to serve it under the flag to defend the integrity of the territory. The armed forces of the Democratic Republic of Congo are already recruiting a large number of young people to serve under the flag. As I speak, there are more than 2,000 of them only in Goma. M23 rebels have captured swathes of new territory in recent weeks. Good neighbourliness is not always the message that others pick up, so we must choose deterrence. Why not have an army of 500,000 or even 1 million Congolese? Foreign ministers of the DRC and Rwanda agreed on Saturday to boost efforts to de-escalate tensions and resolve their political crisis, with the DRC accusing its smaller neighbour of backing a rebel militia. Hundreds of Ghanaians took to the streets of the capital Accra on Saturday, calling for the resignation of President Nana AKUFO-ADDO following record inflation and the government's handling of the economic crisis. After once promising a Ghana without aid, last week President AKUFO-ADDO urged Ghanaians to support his decision to seek an IMF loan.
There is conflict of interest in the way our president is ruling with his cousin. When they go for loans, 9% of the money goes to his own private bank business, which is very wrong. So we just want them to step down. It is not a matter of fight, or maybe we just want to be on the streets ranting for nothing. He should just step down so that peace will come, and let someone else come and do it.
For every cedi and dollar we borrow, the president's family benefits through data bank, which advises and helps to sell the government security. So we are here to tell the president that he should step down. Enough of the cronyism, enough of the nepotism, enough of the corruption.
Ghana is seeking a $3 billion loan from the IMF to cope with record inflation of 37% and the collapse of its currency, the cedi. Most of the demonstrators wore red T-shirts with the slogan, "You might as well kill me."
The educational system has been run aground. Our economy is in a ditch. You cannot buy a gallon of petrol. A bag of maize cannot be bought. So 3 square meals now is a problem. Survival is for the fittest. And that is not what we voted for him for.
The president's move to seek IMF help has raised fears the government will impose austerity measures which will further burden a population already struggling with soaring prices.
Let's now have some sports news. And now in sports news, the National Council for Construction, NCC, has taken interest in the FIFA FAS-funded stadia rehabilitation exercise, but expressed worry at the non-adherence of completion deadlines by the contractor. carrying out renovation works and upgrades at Independence Stadium in Solwezi. FAZ secured funding from FIFA for the rehabilitation of the 4 stadia, namely Kaole in Luapula, Kasama in Northern Province, Independence in Northwestern, and David Kaunda in Eastern Province. Works at each stadium are valued at $300,000 United States per stadia, with FAZ being up to date with the obligation to the contractors. Council Chairperson Vitalis Moya says the shifting of completion deadlines does not sit well with the council, as it expects contractors to be above board and execute the works without fail. Moya said, as an institution that is charged with the responsibility of providing for the promotion of development, training and regulation of the construction industry in Zambia, it expected contractors to follow the laid-down procedure and complete works to the satisfaction of their clients. Moya was speaking during a meeting held with the contractor, FAZ General Secretary Adrian Kashala, representatives from the Ministry of Infrastructure, and FAZ Northwestern Province Chairperson Arthur Kamuloso. The NCC chairperson was accompanied by NCC Director Engineering Ernest Nshindano and board member Engineer Ngenda Situmbeko. GNM projects are carrying out works on the terraces, the perimeter fence, running track, ablution blocks and ticketing office. The meeting held at Independence Stadium in Solwezi was held to understand the challenges surrounding the delay in completing works at the stadium, which are said to be at 80% and should have been concluded by September. During the meeting, it was learned that the turf to be installed by a FIFA-certified contractor from South Africa, namely Artificial Grass Africa Limited, will be done in the coming weeks. FAZ General Secretary Adrian Kashala thanked NCC for taking interest in the matter that has also raised a lot of worry from the association. On that note, we come to the end of the news, but we'll take a look at the headlines once again. Over-dependence on to win by-elections worry and Rwandan refugees ask for Zambian citizenship. President Hakainde Hichilema urged to set up a gender commission. In international news, Ghanaians take to the street demanding resignation of President AKUFO-ADDO. And in sports news, FAZ NCC express worry at the pace of FIFA-funded stadium rehabilitation projects. Our verse of the day this evening comes from 1 Corinthians verse 10 and chapter 10 verse 13. No temptation has overtaken you except what is common to mankind, and God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, He will also provide a way out so that you can endure it. Once again, thank you so much for watching the news. I'm Jeffrey Ziambo. Good night.